excited to share my testimony with you all. My name's Chris Yim, and I'm a young adult. I'm a 2011 grad from Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, and I've been working in Philadelphia for the past 3 years. When I first moved to Philadelphia, I didn't know a single person. I moved by myself, settled in by myself, and started working not knowing anyone. Fortunately, though, I was lucky enough to be plugged into GCC from the start through a random connection. And it's not only been my source of community and fellowship, but it's been monumental in my spiritual maturity. Growing up, I feel like I knew of Christ. I went to church, attended youth group, went to retreats. I've had glimpses of God's grace and love, and even had my first personal encounter with the love of Christ in high school during a church retreat, but something was lacking. I didn't truly know what it meant to live by Christ. Since then, I knew there was more. I knew I needed more Jesus, but I still struggled. I didn't have a strong, consistent Christian community, and my spiritual growth became stagnant. I went to school and worked hard to find success. I lived selfishly for my own glory and accomplishments, and early on, I thought my life was good. I had close relationships with my family and relatives. We were financially stable, and I did well in school. I didn't feel like I had many struggles, but going into undergrad, I felt everything had changed. What I had come to think was a stable family had become broken. Unexpectedly, it had become more evident that my parents struggled more financially and relationally. More so than I could initially see, it became a bigger burden for me and my siblings. I felt like everything that was going well was slipping away, and I had no control. I was involved in destructive relationships that compromised my spiritual, physical, and emotional purity. My undergrad years had become a nest for selfishness and a place where I just wanted to have fun. Eventually my parents split, and for a long time I felt shame. It wasn't until the second quarter of 2012, when I moved to Philadelphia, that God brought me to the Grace Covenant Church. I knew it was His working because it was completely random that, for one, I decided to move to Philly, and for two, that I came to know of the church a month before in Cincinnati. A different story, but through this, I had some direction coming into this new city. And immediately I became immersed in the GCC community and was taken on by the brothers and sisters who not only knew Christ, but lived by Christ. I have many fond memories here and have developed a number of significant relationships that helped me in my walk, but I think the most pivotal moment for my spiritual growth was during the YA retreat in 2014. Pastor Eddie from Southland Church was speaking on the topic of inner healing, and it struck a deep chord in me. It reminded me of my family, of my past, and it brought back shame. Pastor Eddie then pointed out that shame is a barrier to sanctification. It leads to insecurities, fears, and permeates in our life as a barrier of growth. And by the grace of God, through one of his inner healing sessions, I found redemption. I was brought back to all those memories of shame and guilt and found Jesus there with me. I was comforted, and I was not alone. Since then, I've been set free by those chains. I no longer feel shame, but I have healing. I now have a more comprehensive understanding of what it means to live as a child of God, to love better, to serve better, and to surround myself with people who not only strengthen my walk with Christ, but displays the importance of living a God-centric life. Another thought that strongly resonated with me is, to paraphrase Pastor Eddie, the level of love is proportional to the same level of hatred toward anything that will hurt what or who we love. Therefore, we need to develop the love of Christ to develop this hatred towards sin. Born again, I want to develop this love of Christ to become a beacon of light to this dark world which is broke and corrupt. Today, I proclaim my love for Jesus and end with this verse from Galatians 2:19-21, which is part of this month's verse. For through the law I died to the law so that I might live for God. I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in this body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. I do not set aside the grace of God, for if righteousness could be gained through the law, Christ died for nothing. Thank you.